Hi, and welcome to Love Most, the podcast with Dea. I am your host. When I thought of doing Love Most, the podcast as a concept, I saw no separation amongst us. I wanted to connect with people and help connect those people with you. Love Most, the podcast is an inclusive platform where I get to speak with amazing people that are doing incredible things to connect their immediate communities or helping impact the world around them in some way. Love Most, the podcast, is inclusive, not exclusive. When we love most, we include, not exclude. In a world where there is so much public shaming, judging, and bullying, I'm inviting you today to, above all things, love most. Now, I have an incredible guest for you today, so let's get started.
How are you helping change the world around you? Welcome to Love Most, the podcast with Dea, where you are invited to share your gifts and to, above all things, love most. Brought to you by Dea Music Ministry. For more information on how to be a guest, please visit www.deamusicministry.net. That's www.deamusicministry.net.
Hello, hello. Let me just unmute you. I can hear you. You look absolutely beautiful. Welcome to Love Most, the podcast with Dea. Everyone, please welcome Tiffany Krumins. She's here today with us. Absolutely stunning. I love the lighting behind you. The sun rays are coming right through. You look exactly as you should look, like an angel with light, sunlight coming right through you. That's awesome and perfect. So I am so excited to have you here today because, with the Love Most, the podcast, when I started thinking about doing this broadcast, one of the things that I was very passionate about was talking to people that were doing amazing things to help change the world around them in some way. And that could have been through a book, a service, a podcast, a show, a service. You embody everything that this show is about. It's incredible. I think you are an incredible person, so inspiring. And I wanted to tell people a little bit about you. I don't want to go into your entire bio because you have so many wonderful things, and you will be able to share that with us as we go along. We have a few special projects to talk about, particularly one, but you have so many things that you have done. You are, I don't know if everybody can tell, but she's a soon-to-be mom of 4, which is incredible. Your family is beautiful. Your husband is so supportive of you. It's so beautiful to see the dynamics. You share your life on social media in such a moving, loving way that it just makes everybody wants to be a better person. So I love that about you.
Thank you.
So one of the things that I know about you, that you did not start off as an entrepreneur. You were a nanny originally, and being an award-winning entrepreneur, you were for the inaugural episode of Shark Tank, you were the winner with your adorable product, Ava the Elephant. I know that you worked with Barbara Cochran, and that was amazing. Oh, there was Ava the Elephant. I know, it's so cute and so beautiful. I love that product. And when you worked with her, I know that I'm wondering if at that time you knew you were going to become an entrepreneur. How did you come up with the idea for Ava the Elephant? And did you think you were going to do what you're doing today back then?
No, I had no idea. I actually worked as a caregiver for children with special needs, and I actually struggled terribly in school. So I do not have a college degree in anything. I barely graduated high school. I didn't get to walk with my class originally because I had some true learning disabilities. And so I did not see owning any companies, or more or less multiple companies. I'm so sorry about this whole sun situation. This is usually a great spot, but right now
I love it though. From my end, it looks absolutely stunning. You look like an angel just as you are. So I'm loving this. It's beautiful. You look stunning.
Yeah, so I was actually in the thick of working as a caregiver for children with special needs, and one of them had a very difficult time taking medication. And so my sole goal with that was to create something to help him. I was not thinking, "Ooh, I'm going to sell this all over the world. It'll be sold in multiple languages." I simply wanted to find a solution for him. And so I went home one night and had this light bulb moment that everybody talks about, where that moment where you really get something. And it was that that a syringe and the experience is a negative one because of how we treat it. It doesn't look friendly. It isn't friendly. We're scared as parents and caregivers. And so I wanted to change that and make it have a sweet face. And so I created the first Ava the Elephant out of sponges and fabric, and taped the insides of a recordable greeting card to the back of it so that I could, it would have a voice. And I took it in the next day, and this is a little boy. Remember that this is a little boy who had to be restrained. I mean, every time he took medication of any kind, he would have to be restrained because he just hated the process. And I introduced it to him. I had a very good relationship with him. And I said, Gibby, this is, I think it was Emmy the Elephant or something at the time. And I said, this is your buddy, Emmy the Elephant. She's going to give you your medicine. And he was like, okay. And I mean, it's just no fear at all, no concern at all. It was like, oh, it looks nice now. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. This makes sense. And so he took his medicine, and I didn't think anything else of it. We used that fabric one for like a month. I mean, we would wash it out and dry it and reuse it. And then someone forwarded the casting for the pilot episode of Shark Tank to me. Gosh, that lighting. And so it said, do you have the next $1 million idea, but you don't have the funding to make it happen? And I thought, yes, I think I do.
Wow.
I've been sitting on this, and it's a good idea. Oh, no. Hold on one second. I lost you.
It's okay.
There we are.
I can still hear you.
Sorry.
There you are.
Trying to pull you a little closer so that sun's not so bad. And so I auditioned for the first show and heard back shortly after. Next thing I knew, I was filming the pilot episode.
Wow. Incredible. I think that what I love about you is that it is something that was because of the way your heart operates, right? It was never, I mean, some people have ideas, and that's wonderful too. They sit and they go, oh, wow, but you were really stemming from the love that you have for this child and the way that you watched him struggle. You wanted to give a solution to something that involved your heart. Right. So everything from what I've known of you in the past few years that I've known you on social media, that hasn't been 1 year yet that I haven't seen you do something for someone else out of your heart. And that's one of the biggest things about your brand. Every time I think of you, I think the heart that you possess is of immeasurable size. And it's so amazing how you help, not only you connect with people, but you invite other people to take part in incredible projects and acts of kindness. And it's one of the most beautiful things. I love it because, like I said, it's not really all about the accolades and the awards, which you have, and they are amazing. But it is the way you present yourself, the way that you present the world to others. Yeah. I think it's incredible. So
that's because that's how I get paid. For me, that is what really gives me, of all the things I've accomplished in these big, I've been interviewed by Dr. Oz and sat on his stage and one-on-one and had all these huge things that people think have value. Mm-hmm. And yes, they were exciting and they were fun, but they didn't really fulfill me the way that it did. Right. Putting this little boy on my package who has
absolutely,
who I finally get to do, that is my pay.
Right. And I totally get that. I think it's amazing. You had this incredible year. You win Shark Tank. You work with Barbara Cochran, who's amazing. And then you have a little bit of a surprise, a little detour there. And I wanted you to share a little bit about that because I think it highlights you. I want to highlight something about you. I hope I can do it without crying. Sure. But, tell me what happened that left everyone that knew you, including yourself, shocked. Yeah. The following year, I believe it was, correct?
Actually, it was just months after Shark Tank. So okay. I filmed the show. I went home. I dove into learning this business I knew nothing about. And I was in the thick of that, really putting the whole company together, learning how to manufacture the product. And I was diagnosed with cancer at 27. So that was obviously turned my world upside down. And I had to really take a hard look at, can I do all of this at one time? And so I kept pushing through and did it through my cancer diagnosis, through surgeries, through treatments that lasted about 3.5 years before I was actually considered cancer free. And it was challenging. But once I had the product out there and I started to get these reviews and hear from people of how it was affecting their children, I knew that I had made the right decision.
Wow. I can't help to think of a quote that I heard many years ago when I hear you tell this story. And I've read about the story, and I knew that you were also, while going through it, you were also working, and you never gave up. You're always pushing through. And it makes me think of a quote that I heard many years ago. It says, "For the true measure of a woman lies in how much compassion she can extend to another, even when her own heart is breaking." And I think of you when I hear that quote, only because I know that your commitment was to make sure that every baby out there, every child wasn't struggling, that they could take the medicine without the anxiety. This was a project that had so much value. Sorry, I was going to get emotional. In your heart.
Yeah.
And so every time I hear this quote, I think, see, this is what it is. This is where the beauty of your life, your mission, your legacy, the legacy you're leaving for your children. This is everything.
But those
so
people they very much saved me during that time. I would get messages a year in when the product was out from parents of children who were battling too with me. So, if anything, they were giving me motivation and inspiration, even though I, was pushing through. They were doing. Some of these kids have been through 10 times as much as I have. So it inspired me for sure.
Absolutely. It's so amazing. Okay. So you touched briefly on this, and I wanted to just briefly touch about this because I saw a post that you did on Facebook recently. You just made a mention to it recently, just a little bit ago. And it was concerning the way that people perceive you. They don't know your backstory. They don't know where you came from, what your life was like. Most people assume that you went to college and did all these things. So tell us just a little bit more about you.
Sure. So I think I have an appearance of someone who has it pulled together. Maybe not today with these sun rays and me like fidgeting.
You look gorgeous.
but yeah, I think in pictures, when you see photos of me, just much like you, people might assume that this person has it all together and all figured out. And I just shared a post the other day of just how much I didn't have it pulled together and how crazy my earlier life was, because I don't want people thinking that I was a trust fund baby and took money from my parents and that's why I am successful. And so I grew up in a military family. My dad is U.S. Marine Corps. And back then, you didn't leave the military with a lot of skills. Like you didn't have these degrees, not necessarily anyway. He didn't. And so he left, and we didn't have, when he finally retired from the military, we didn't have much. And at points, we didn't have a car. We were walking together to the store and stuff. And I was okay with that, but I struggled in school at the same time. That was something that I struggled from day one of school all the way through the end. And I think people assume, that I have these degrees or this knowledge, and really all of my learning, anything to do with business, period, I have learned the hard knocks way. I've learned with Barbara, when we were in the thick of the beginning of this figuring out, and then all of the years after. So I just want to encourage other people to know that no matter how they grew up and whatever it looked like, at home, that they can accomplish just about anything if they put their mind to it.
Absolutely. That's so inspiring and amazing. My next question, first of all, you're a fighter for sure. If I have met anybody made of fire, that is you. I know you've been through a lot. I know you've had a lot of ups and downs and with family and losing your mom and all of that. But I still feel that from what I remember, even through that, you're still wanting people to do something for somebody else. You're still asking people to reach out and, be an organ donor.
Yes.
Do something. You just blow my mind away. Every year has not been one year that I have not seen you do something for someone else. And that is so moving because, I believe that charity is a way of living. It is something that you either have it or you don't. If you understand the concept that you give because you've been given. And you've been given, I know that you've had not an easy life as people might have assumed, but you have such a beautiful family. Your babies are incredibly beautiful, healthy. Your husband is so supportive of you. You are such an example of what a family should look like. The way you love your dad, the way you've encouraged him to move on, once things were better and things, everything that you do to me involves a heart. I keep saying, I love your heart. I put that on the post all the time. I love your heart because that's what I see. And I know that people get that. Yeah. Your brand is love. That everything that you do has love in it. you can't take the love out of you, you know? So I love it. I wanted to touch, so you do all these amazing things. And of course, now you became a founder of two companies, Mom Genius and Opu
Yes.
Probiotics. And we're going to talk about that project just in 1 second. I know that you have, and I don't know if this is currently going on, but for the iHeartRadio, you're a co-host of a podcast called Product Genius, right? Product Genius. So, I mean, you have so many things that you do. I'm sure there is more that I'm missing here, but you wear many hats. So talk to me a little bit about the probiotics, this new product that you're launching, because I know you're currently working on this campaign. So tell us all about it, what it is, and why did you choose this particular type of product?
Sure. Yeah. So it wasn't a money-making thing. Again, it was something very in my life that I was struggling with. So when I had my cancer treatments and my surgeries, or the treatment specifically is a type of radiation that you ingest. Mm-hmm. And so you open up this vial in a room by yourself with gloves on, and it's so highly radioactive that you can't even touch it. You have to wear gloves, which is just mind blowing. I'm going to eat this pill, but I can't touch it. You know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. And so I took that for 3 or 4 years. And so I would take this, and it would just, obviously, as you can imagine, destroying my digestion. Mm-hmm. It was not good for the stomach. And so I looked into, you know, how to make my body as healthy as I possibly could while going through that. And that's what led me to learn more about probiotics and prebiotics. And that was years ago, you know, when I was going through the thick of that. And so I've taken them in different forms for years. But what I discovered and what I really realized just, you know, about a year ago is that I hate all the formats that are on the market, all the delivery methods. There's pills, which I didn't want another pill because I already take pills to stay alive every day from my cancer. Just not a real big pill fan. There's chalky powders that you can, you know, pour into a drink, stir up real quick and chug down, which are not great, obviously. And there's chewables. And so I set out as a product developer now. You know, now I've developed multiple products. And so I kind of know the process of what to look for to see, are there any factories here in the US that I could work with to come up with a new formulation so that we could take this more easily. And I was looking for a very specific strain. The strain that I have in my brand was specific to what helped me and worked for me, because I had tried all these different ones. This one strain was one that worked well for me. And so I found a factory here in Georgia, and I took that as a sign. It was like, okay, I've not been able to manufacture anything here yet, which I always wanted to do. Ava the Elephant was not feasible here in the States. And so I went and met with this factory. We hit it off instantly. They had a formulation that they were working on, a new format. And we started developing this product together about a year and a half ago. And then COVID obviously hit. Everything kind of paused. And then this is that one, you know, when you have that one idea or that product that you lose sleep over, this is that one for me after Ava. That is my next baby, if you will. Not this baby, but product baby. And I couldn't let it go. I knew it was it tasted that good. It worked that well. And so we did the whole formulation, all of that. And now the product is fully developed. So we have a mint and a mocha. It was going to be coffee, but now it's mocha, are the two flavors. And it is an instant dissolve probiotic. So it's essentially these are our mock-ups of our new packaging.
Okay. Wow. Awesome.
But you basically tear open the packet and you just pour it on your tongue and it melts. Wow. It obviously doesn't melt the probiotic part that goes down into your intestines, but it melts as far as how you administer it. And
so 100% bioavailable, right? And yes. Also it's for everybody. This is for anybody, right?
Anyone. It's made in the USA. That was a huge thing for me. Yes, it's for anybody. Actually, we can actually claim all ages on there. And I'll be going into more detail in our website on that. But the key for me was that 60% or more of supplements are made overseas, and you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
And so I wanted it made right here. I knew the safety of it, the efficacy of it. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're launching it through Indiegogo for one reason. So I have invested. I have one other investor in my company, and my dad is my partner. And this is about $100,000 project, the very first run of this probiotic. And the remaining 25, I decided to raise on Indiegogo because I wanted to use it as more of a marketing tool and pre-sales to try to get feedback from people. What do you like? What do you want for an eco-friendly box? And just really kind of open up the door of product development so we could communicate back and forth. And so it's been really fun to see. We've raised almost half of what we need so far.
Wow.
And so hopefully people will go on and pre-order. I know it's hard to
Yes.
buy something you haven't tasted, but I can tell you it's delicious. I've taken it for about 6 months now since we developed it. And we're hoping people will get behind both the, made in the USA part of it and the fact that it's just a fantastic product so that we can get into production really soon.
Yeah. And I mean, judging by everything you've ever done, everything you touch turns into gold. So I'm here to tell everyone that you have to trust this lady with this amazing products. I know nothing that she does has ever been less than absolutely amazing. So, everything that you do really is so impactful. I know that your heart is behind everything, and that's really great. I did put in on the banner there, TiffanyKrumins.com, because
Perfect.
that's where people can click and get all the information about you, read more about what you do, and so on. I know that you have, with the podcast, right, being the co-host of the iHeartRadio podcast, Product Genius, you have an opportunity to advise and inspire people that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. Can you tell us if you had one piece of, one or two, I mean, any advice that you can give someone who's watching this today, who is maybe on the fence? They don't think they're good enough, or they don't think they think they need to know everything. Tell them, what would you say to them?
Yeah, if it's a product-based company, I encourage people to learn as much as they can about this crazy industry. It is, as you know, you've launched products. It is very multifaceted. It is different for every single product. So you can't really consult with people and go, oh, I'll help you with this. But every conversation is different. Every pricing is different. Every manufacturing process is different. Even the fulfillment, some places need a refrigerated product versus, one that doesn't. And so I just encourage you to learn. There's so much great valuable information out there that you can learn, much like I did, simply through Googling, simply through watching videos, to learn as much about this industry before you invest. Because most people that I have met, sadly, go the opposite route. They jump to patents. Patents is a very, very big one. I want a patent. They feel like a real inventor. That's what it is. If they secure a patent, and sadly, they're oftentimes securing these patents for $5, $10, $15, sometimes $30,000, and then they never manufacture the product.
Right.
They never license the product. So just learn as much as you can before you truly, truly invest in an idea, and make sure it's one, like I said, that you have lost sleep over. Because I can tell you, between Ava and now, minus the few products that I did license, I've trashed, 30 ideas. I've taken them through development and actually had prototypes in my hand and still decided not to move forward because I've been able to look at the whole business model and go, nope, someone beat me to the market, or this isn't good about it, or whatever. So be willing to throw those out that don't work and move on quickly instead of wasting money on every single one.
Interesting. I find that that's something that applies to life as well.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, we need to be flexible. We need to be willing to learn. We need to be willing to fall.
Yes.
That's the thing. Not to be afraid of making mistakes. I think there's such a learning curve when it comes to bringing anything to market. But, and then just having the faith that, believe that the process is a part of something greater. Even if that product doesn't come to market, maybe you're learning something for something greater down the road, and last but not least, from your example, from who you are as an entrepreneur, just as a person in general, and your presence on social media and everything that you do and touch, I always think that people have to be really connected with their passion. If it's coming from a place of love, if it's coming from a place that you actually believe in, that you're passionate about something or someone or a group of people, I think that's when things tend to succeed, because there is something more than the accolade, than the prize, than the money, or whatever it may be. Obviously, people want to make a living and have a life that where they can relax eventually down the road. But I think that the propeller is that passion, the love that you have for what you do. I know that you're going to have.
They so oftentimes get caught up in, like you said, the accolades of wanting to be on, their 15 minutes of fame on Shark Tank. That sounds exciting to them. And I can tell them firsthand that, yes, that's fun, but it passes so quickly, and
So
it
quickly.
brings no real value minus the connection that it brings, to so many people. So,
That's
like you
true.
said, try to stay focused on whatever that passion for me is still 12 years later, people with special needs. That is the goal with this company. I will, in the first 6 months, be hiring individuals with disabilities and special needs to help fulfill and work on this product at our facility. And
That
that's something
was
I was never able to do with Ava. I
right.
didn't have
That's what I was going to ask you to talk about next. So
Yeah.
you and I are like
Oh,
the
yeah.
same wavelength, because when you told me about that, I said, now there's something that, you don't see every day. I mean, I know some people have done some things in that area, but the fact that everything is so connected with the love that you have for people who have disabilities, because I know that you had some learning disabilities growing up. And I think that firsthand how it feels not to be able to fulfill something at what is expected in society, by society standards. I think it is beautiful that you're bringing this opportunity to light, and you're doing it via something that you created. How much better? Because people can do things and using resources that are already out there. This is directly linked to something you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think it just leaves such a beautiful message. I think your kids have such a beautiful legacy to carry forth. I know your kids are very young. Well, one is really, really young. It's not even here yet, very soon. But I love it. I think this story is beautiful. Just the way you present yourself. I'm keeping an eye on the time because we promised to be good with the time. One of the questions that I have also is, if you can, tell me a little bit more about the probiotics. What is the process like? So you have the idea first, but then this is obviously something you're going to ingest.
Yeah.
What do you do? Where do you go? How do you start developing a product like that?
Right. So with this, with Ava the Elephant, I had to find a factory and build it from scratch. With this, I needed a reputable company who's already done this. I did not want to reinvent the wheel. I'm not building a facility. I'm not making clean rooms. I'm not interested in that. And that's, if anything, I've learned in business, it's not to reinvent the wheel. It's to find the right partners. And so when I found this company who had done so much of the work already and have been in this for years, this company manufactures not just probiotics, but enzymes and all sorts of different things for, multi-billion-dollar brands.
Wow.
And so it was really more of me formulating what I wanted out of it, what I wanted out of the flavor and the delivery than anything. As far as the strains, they have done all the heavy lifting on that and have these trademark strains that are efficient and that have been studied and that have actual, tests behind them, so that I'm basically taking the bulk of what they've done that good and giving it in a different form and a different flavor, different branding, and bringing it to the world kind of in a different marketing angle. Because you think of, how often do you go to the store or go to the doctor and they say, Culturelle, everything's Culturelle, take a Culturelle. If you take your kids to the doctor, that's what they recommend. And to me, that's just dated. It's the same pill that they've been given for, 10, 20, 30 years, whatever they've been in business. And so I want to do it differently. And I also want to teach people about it, like how the probiotic works and how it goes down into your intestines. And one of the things that I loved about this strain, and the reason I went for this strain, is that it is a different. So some probiotics you take, they make it into your stomach. They hit the stomach acid and they die. They basically never make it to your intestines where they have to be to multiply to help you. And so it's almost like a placebo effect, right? And I won't call out any specific strains, but those exist. And that's sad to me that people are taking it thinking it's helpful and it's not really benefiting them. Whereas this strain it's a more robust, strong strain that can make it through heat and stomach acid, and then it gets to your intestines, and that's where it really does what it's supposed to do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's what made me so excited.
Well, I know I'll definitely be a customer.
Yeah.
As you get older, that's the thing, we're trying to find the very next best alternative to help us. Telling you, it's like this product is for everybody. I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to try it. Count me in on sharing about it even more, once you have everything ready. And everyone, please check out Tiffany Krumins. It's actually Tiffany. There is no dot, right? TiffanyKrumins.com. You'll find all the information about this wonderful woman. She is just a light. Is there anything else that if you could give one more advice and I want to focus on younger entrepreneurs, not just the seasoned women, because a lot of people wait until they're well after they've had children and they're in a new season of life to create a company. But there are young entrepreneurs out there, young people that are thinking that one day they want to be an inventor.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I think I'd go back to what I was just kind of preaching about on social media a day or two ago, is that you don't have to have family or a career. You don't have to choose between the two. I have dear friends of mine who poured their entire lives into their careers. They're now my age and they cannot get pregnant and want to so badly. And they have booming careers, but they're not fulfilling them. And they're realizing I missed out on something that was spectacular. And in the other order, maybe you had kids and you never did the business side. So I'm here to tell people you can do both. Even if you struggle, I still struggle with business every day. Math is still not my strong suit. So even if you've got some of these challenges and, business doesn't come naturally to you, you can juggle both. Now, part of that is, like you said earlier, finding, a good partner to do it with is half of the battle, because then you've got someone to help you get through all of that. But I just want to encourage people to be able to realize that they can do both. They can go after both if they're smart with their time. You see all these things that go around online of people saying, oh, you don't have enough time. Well, then why do you watch Netflix for 8 hours straight? So just figure out what you're doing with your time and where you want to put it and what your real life goals are. And you can accomplish both. I'm proof of it.
Absolutely. No, I love it. And it's funny that you said that about the watching TV or whatever show, but it's what I say to people when they say, I don't have money to buy it, but you can drink coffee every day and spend $8 on a latte or something, and then you just throwing money out the window, and you could be investing in some. So if anybody's having any doubts about whether they can afford the probiotics or not, just think about it as the same theory.
Yeah.
Maybe you're drinking, and I'm not saying stop drinking coffee. I'm just saying don't drink 20, drink maybe 5, and then save the other part to put something that's good for you into your body. So I really love it. I wanted to say that, that what I love about what I do with the podcast is that I get to connect with people that are really doing something amazing, and you are doing something amazing. You always have done something amazing. And it's when I hear you say, well, I'm not good with math. It actually brings me comfort because I am not business oriented at all. Right. I'm good at connecting with people. I'm good at talking with people. And it took me a long time to figure that out. I had to connect and think about what is it that I'm really good at? What do I love to do is to talk to people. So I mentioned to you that when I found out that we're going to be doing this interview, my reaction was, and I was telling my personal branding expert, consultant, most people bucket list is to jump off planes and do all these. My bucket list consists of meeting people like Tiffany. Yeah. We haven't met in person. I know there was one time you were in New York and I was like, we're going to meet. And then it didn't work out. Yeah. But I said, this is the closest right now, obviously, that we can do it. I'm so thrilled to have you here. I'm so thankful for you.
We will one day. I have no doubt we will meet in person.
We will meet in person someday. I'm so thankful that you accepted to be a part of Love Most the podcast family, because I have these amazing guests, and I eventually, I end up connecting with them beyond the podcast and staying close. Now we've been on social media for many years together, and chatting, and I've been learning so much from you. So I really appreciate you making the time as a very busy mom. I know that we both have to run and get our kids from school. This is what's amazing about doing, live with people that are alike, because we can understand each other.
Right before this, I said, I gotta shove my toddler downstairs with my husband. Hold on a second. So yeah,
that's right. I mean, we have, all the backgrounds going on with our family. So I wanted to tell everyone, thank you for joining today. This is, it's been a pleasure. This is Tiffany Krumins, who is an award-winning entrepreneur that was part of the inaugural episode for Shark Tank, winning that competition with her adorable product, Ava the Elephant. Many of you might have seen this at the stores across the nation. I'm sure it's across the world somewhere as well. What other places is Ava the Elephant sold?
So because Ava was just acquired, this brand was acquired by a new company, Better Family. Because of that, we're now going back into stores. So you kind of come out when you leave one brand where it was licensed, and you go back in under a new company. And so,
so I was lucky when I saw it. I saw it at CVS in my area. Yes. In the East Coast, we have CVS, and that's where I got mine. But
Publix is one of the places that's onboarding it right now, and they're one of my favorite stores because they actually hire people with disabilities and special needs often. You will see them at the front of the store, helping out and getting to know people. And so, yeah, we're very excited about that one. It'll be at Publix, hopefully by the end of the year.
Okay. Would it ever be international, you think? Would it ever go
Yeah,
before?
it
Okay.
has been.
Oh,
I've had
wow.
it in multiple languages, a little Spanish speaking.
Oh, that is,
Ava,
oh my
yeah,
gosh. And
French.
it's adorable. I mean, it is adorable, but when I mention about this product to my friend, she says, what an incredible and cute idea. I mean, what kid wouldn't want to take their medicine, right?
Right.
I love it. So anyway, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I was going to say welcome again because I'm thinking like, well, let's do this again. So this podcast, Love Most the Podcast with Daya, was brought to you by CO2lift.com. Please check out their products on their website, co2lift.com. Use my code LOVEMOST10 for a 10% discount. Thank you so much for joining today. Have an amazing day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany.